I would love for us to get going and introduce our guest speaker, who is Dr. Thomas Acklin. Where are you?
Hola, greetings.
Hola. We want to highlight you. Can we highlight Dr. Tom?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find him again. I just lost him.
While you're looking to highlight me, let me make a quick comment. As Brent was telling that great story, there's a lot of folks walking around who have been looking in all the wrong places. And when I say wrong, that doesn't mean it was a bad idea, right? Well-intentioned, but did it work? No. Almost always. And we look and we look and we look and we look. So many folks struggling right now. And this is the right place, right? You're looking in the right place. And I think, what do we got, 140, 150 people on? And there's a lot of folks who found the right place. So everybody to be here.
Well, I'd love to formally introduce you. Dr. Tom Acklin is out of Maryland, and he has been with LifeWave, I think, 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
And he is a classically trained neurologist with now a focus toward, he has shifted his focus more towards, good foods. And then all of this LifeWave stuff just started to kind of augment everything that he was doing regarding good foods. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to tell us a little bit more about your background?
Well, sure. I think we don't need to take a whole lot of time, but it's not just good food. Although, since you said that, I like to make the distinction of sacred food stuff being not just what we chew and swallow, but that which we breathe, that which we sip, that which we take in ideologically, right? That the philosophies around us. And part of what excites me about these technologies is they put people into a place of cognitive competence, right? And again, it's not a detriment. It's not a moral failing that we are all cognitively failing. But I think it's arguable to say that, especially in the past 3 years, we've seen a lot of folks step away from being engaged in a very sacred way, right? And it's such an important part of life, which has, I think, really been on the decline for a generation or two, or maybe longer. And we've gotten to a place where the doc says, yeah, this is normal. And that's supposed to be reassuring. But that's the worst thing a doc can say to a patient is, I can't find anything wrong with you. You're normal, go away. That's not helpful. Yeah. And so we have a place where we get to put people back into a place where they get a competence back, and they get a capacity back that they have thought was just going to be gone for the rest of their lives. I talked to a lady today who for 25 years has been progressively declining. She started in her 50s, losing her, seeing some degeneration and losing her bones and her joints. And the doc said, yeah, we can turn off the pain, but there's nothing we can do about that. And she found the right place. Right, she had to look at a lot of dark places and a lot of wrong turns, and thank God she found us.
Because, as you've said on other calls, we are bright lights, seeking bright lights.
Love it.
And, on top of that, we offer people hope. And that's pretty important considering the last few years and all that the Earthians have been going through, right? Yeah. Really appreciate your words, and I love what in the world, which patch are you wearing on your forehead here, and why is that there?
I made a promise to somebody that I would put this here on my third eye, because since we're talking about cognitive clarity and decision making, this one of our largest selling patch before X39 was Eon. Total body inflammation. We market it. You'll see it marketed for stress and anxiety, but it's fantastic for putting the body and the whole central nervous system and the whole autonomic nervous system back in balance. So it's great for nervous issues. And if you have the word neuro in your diagnosis, which we're not allowed to say, that's a great choice. Then X39 came along, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And the growth of the company is just stupendous since then, because everybody's been chasing copper peptide upregulation, right? This upregulates an amino acid in the body called GHK copper peptide. And if you run to your search engine and Google GHK copper and almost anything that the docs have called a chronic disease or issue, you will find in many silos in many places all across the world for the past 50 years, people looking for a way to upregulate copper peptide. What do you know, David Schmidt, after doing this work for 25 years with other technologies and perfecting these phototherapy techniques, boom, he hit the home run. This is the holy grail. This is the holy grail of putting the body back into a regenerative space, period. And nothing like it. And nothing goes into the body. It's not a transdermal. This is a light therapy for those of you who have not seen this before. So that's an Eon patch. You can put an X39, and X39 is the top of the hill, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight. And X39 does what everything else does, although sometimes not as targetedly, right? But wear it for 90 days, wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off, stay really nicely hydrated to the extent that you can shift into a place where you are having those sacred foods all of a sudden. And the more we attend gatherings like this, the more each of us can be sacred foods. All the stories we just heard, that was sacred food. That was our yummy snacks for the evenings.
Like
Yeah.
we're part of a wonderful tribe, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a few more questions, and then I'd like to open it through our chat for people to ask questions that, if you have time, if you will help answer those questions, that would be
Sure.
excellent. So I wanted to ask you, how do people get the best possible outcome using this technology, Doctor?
Well, consistency and communication. That means 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Use it daily, use it every day. If you miss a day, that's fine. Get back on the wagon. So use it for 90 days. We heard about the power of the tracker, and those of us who keep journals tend to have a bit more insight, because then all of a sudden, not only do we have a log, but we've got an opportunity to be sacredly connected. And another thing that has degenerated over the recent years is our ability to communicate to each other. So a lot of times, I was just talking to somebody this morning. I work a lot with cancer patients. One of the things that cancer patients have is an inability to express something, right? The body is in constant regenerative turnover, and we're constantly regenerating. That means we're constantly letting go of a lot of stuff as well. The 300 billion that we make, 300 billion cells that we make every day, we've also got to let go of 300 billion. And if we don't let go of it, then we're in trouble. So the communication is a big deal. Work with the person and the team that they work with your upline, your sponsor. Stay in really nice contact. I really do think that's one of the best sacred foods is the ways we communicate. You want to stay really nicely hydrated along the way. And like I said, to the extent that you start to see the habits of your life that aren't working slip away, even though you thought they might be there for a while. And tell the success stories. Everybody who spoke tonight, that's actually part of the therapy. You speak out loud and you claim. We used to call it take ground in one of the growth and development programs I used to coach. We would call it taking ground. So it's a bit of a longer answer.
So yes, in the essence of time, I'll just ask you a couple more questions, and then we're going to open it for our viewers to ask their questions in chat.
Yeah.
So who is this technology for, and who is it not for, Dr. Tom?
Well, it's for everybody. There's nothing in the patch. So this is not a transdermal. I saw one question that said, Lydia's question said, can you clarify if X39 and 49 are the only ones that contain copper? I have a potential client who can't tolerate copper. So to be clear, there's nothing in the patch that goes in the body. And the variety of triage that would go on to say why she doesn't tolerate copper are myriad. But the truth is she's actually deficient in copper. And part of the beautiful menu of the benefits of this technology is that it puts the body into a place where it doesn't need anything exogenous, doesn't need anything from the outside, doesn't take off the table the need to make the changes to put the right things in the body. And if there's a reason you're not tolerating something, that's a deficiency in the body's ability to say yes to Mother Nature, right? If you can't digest and assimilate the foods that you swallow, and the nutrients don't make it to the target tissue because of circulation issues or because of other inflammatory issues, concerns, there's a deficiency there. And that's the beginning of a chronic issue. So again, back to our opening idea, we've come to believe that chronic issues, that everybody's got one or everybody's going to have one. No. At the point where we stopped having sacred contact, and at the point where we stopped being able to handle the truth and digest the moment of our lives, the moment of the message, the moment of the food, the moment of the supplement, etc., the moment we could not come back to center and restore homeostasis, biologically we began a chronic condition. And to the extent that we can't come back to center emotionally, we begin a chronic condition as well. So it is for everybody. If there's some particular reason that you are being immunosuppressed for a reason, and that would be chemo patients, for example, then you may not want to put this on board, because that would run counter to the therapeutic that the medical professional is trying to deliver. But that would be up to the patient and the provider.
Very good.
Yep.
Are you open to a few questions? We're running a little
Absolutely.
bit behind today, so I cannot take too many questions. But let's see. John asked, what patches and protocol would you recommend for someone with very active continuous tremors?
Yeah. Well, I've worked with many, and again, there are many reasons why. If you didn't come out of the mama with it, it's not a disease. It was an acquired condition. Our job is to turn the clock back, right? And a lot of these conditions where we see neuromuscular issues and neurovascular issues, and what they're calling the P word, right? We weren't born with it. We were poisoned into it. And whether that be actively or neglectfully, actively or passively. And we somewhere along the way stopped giving that sacred menu to the diet. So yes, we have many. For people who are fragile, I actually love it. I'm glad we talked about Eon first, because Eon, some people can't handle X39. X39 helps the body tell the truth. And for a body that's been wanting to say some things for quite a while, a lot of times that can be a bit of a detox, and it might be a little bit overwhelming for the patient, for the person or client. And so a good first start for somebody like that, who's probably multiply medicated and probably has multiple other pathologies before that P word showed up, and the tremor showed up, Eon is fantastic. So Eon is a beautiful, for those of you who don't understand autonomic nervous system, our sympathetic is our fight or flight, our parasympathetic is our rest and relax. Body's always playing, and we need both, and we need the ability to come back from both, right? You need to be able to mobilize and get the hell away from the tiger when it's time, and you need to after 18 hours of wakeful activity, say hello to the pillow, and all the things in between. Eon's fantastic for autonomics, and the autonomic nervous system is the central nervous, the big parachute under which those activities happen. So Eon's a good choice, and I like to start people for a few days on it, and before I introduce X39, sometimes, because that gives them a really nice security blanket.
Well put.
Yeah.
Security blanket, love it. So we're going to kind of hurry along here. What patches would you recommend for a mass in the recall area? Asks Londra.
The recall area.
I'm guessing up
I
here,
wonder if
right?
you're talking about memory recall. Okay. I didn't know if that was metaphoric or not. Yeah, again, here we've seen, unfortunately, a great contagion of some cognitive deficits here. X39 is fantastic. A sister stem cell instigator patch came along 2 years after 39, and David introduced last year X49. And X49 is wonderful for brain health. Again, it's an adjunct. So X39 is the king of the hill. Get to the point, whatever we have to do to get the person ready to be able to handle X39. And for somebody like I just mentioned, by the way, once you do start X39, sometimes, and you don't have to wear it for 12 hours, you can wear it for smaller windows, 39 or 3 or 6 hours at a time, or even 1. And the patch is guaranteed to be good for 12 hours. So if you use it for 3 hours, keep that same patch, use it again. And then once you get to the place where you can handle, where you've built up to being able to handle 90 days of X39, then you're in great shape. Then you can start, you really have a handle on what kind of reclaimed capacities you have and what kind of reclaimed skill sets. So I would say before you add 49, 39 for a month, right? Get the person to a place where they can handle 39 for a month. Then second month, add 49. So they're wearing 39 and 49. Great for brain. And I think that's enough on that. We also have a hat protocol, which we can talk about down the road, but we have many other technologies. And let me say one thing, because I almost, I have to talk about SP6 almost all the time. I think it's one of our most undervalued technologies. And again, you look at it on the website and it's marketed for cravings, and they've had to be very careful about what they can say. They even had to take the word sugar. It used to say sugar cravings. They even had to take the word sugar off. Everybody here knows what sugar issues are, and everybody here knows a dozen people with sugar issues. Plus. And SP6 helps with that. And SP6 helps with that because it puts the body in a place where it's ketogenic, it's actually able to use fat as a fuel source instead of sugar as a fuel source. And almost all cognitive decline in anything central nervous system, anything brain health, has to do with the body getting used to not being in a ketogenic state. We can very powerfully put a body back into a place where it does use fat as a fuel source. And our brain, of course, is one of the fattiest organs around, both in our bodies and anywhere else on the animal kingdom planet, since we were talking about other animals, right? And it's the first thing to say, okay, great, finally, he or she is finally going to give me the capacity to use fat. Let me rebuild. So SP6 is a great adjunct there as well.
Thanks, Dr. Tom.
Sure.
I'm going to be kind of quick on this one. Casey is asking, I need advice for someone I met tonight. His dad worked in a coal mine and has, I'm not going to say the whole thing here, but lung problems. What patches do you recommend? He also has extremely thin skin, probably because of oxygen problems due to his past work. What would you suggest?
Yeah, wow. Well, X39 always. We have, I was just noticing this today. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but on the front of the sleeves, this is an envelope that patches come in. We call it a sleeve. And under each technology, and this is energy enhancer, and that's what I would suggest for him. Anybody with lung issues, you can put energy enhancer, which is a 2-patch system on the lung points. And at the bottom, it says general wellness product, general wellness patch. On every one of our technologies, it says general wellness patch. And I thought, okay, this is wonderful. They're not corporal patches. They're not lieutenant colonel patches. They're general patches. And I think it should say 5-star general wellness patch. Since this question was about skin, we also have a skin system, and the one sleeve that doesn't say just general wellness patch says general wellness patch for skincare. And again, incredibly undermarketed, because since we started talking about how we interface with life, this is where we interface with the sense of touch, right? But the skin is from the embryonic ectoderm, which becomes involutes and becomes the lining of everything else that is, quote, hollow, or the outside of the body. The quote, inside of the air sacs in our lungs are still outside the body. The lining of the gut is still outside the body, right? And so aloe vera helps all of those linings, the linings of our sinuses, our ear, et cetera, et cetera. You can take that metaphor as far as you go. But yeah, X39 for sure, and energy enhancer to help out. And the best way to help all of those other lining issues is to stop eating toxic junk and to stop breathing toxic stuff.
There's a David Schmidt type quote, if I've ever heard one, all about lifestyle.
And the technology, it's hard.
Water.
You know, we've all heard the what we should do. And it's hard to force ourselves to make lifestyle shifts. And a lot of what these technologies do is put the body in a place where a lot of those things happen naturally, because our ability to discern, our ability to feel the subtle changes and the subtle energies is dramatically increased. And then all of a sudden you find yourself surprised saying, oh, wow, I didn't even think about stopping at the Dairy Queen. Right. And it becomes natural.
Right. Yeah. Are you okay with maybe 5 more minutes with us tonight?
Sure thing.
Okay. Let's see, Dr. Annabelle, suggestions appreciated. Client of mine has a herniated disc and states his disc leaked into his spinal column. He's now in worse pain and can't walk around more than 10 minutes. He's been on X39 and Eon and Icewave for a month. Other ideas?
Another month.
Consistency.
Yeah. When you get to the place where you have connective tissue issues and structural tissue issues, other metabolic things have been happening for quite a while, and the body has been siphoning from the structures, right? The bones and the joints. And so we see degenerative cartilage, et cetera, et cetera. But that means there's other metabolic missings. And a lot of the first month or 2, or sometimes even 6, puts the other metabolics, the more important parts of the body together, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your vital organs. And again, back to consistency, back to your very first question, Sunshower, is consistency, and stay real close. If this person's in communication, have them tap in, have them journal. And more is not necessarily better, but persistency.
You know, you just answered Brent's question. He said, is more even better? Will 2 or 3 patches of a certain type do more faster, or is that a waste?
Under special circumstances, I suppose you could step to 3. I would say after 2 of the particular technology, you're really in a place where you've got total body for that. And more of the same technology is not necessary. And the placements are based on acupressure points, acupuncture meridian points. And those are, when you look at the back of the envelope, at the back of those suggested placements, that's where we've done the clinical research. And so that's where we can officially say, but every one of the technologies is a total body activation of that particular frequency, of that particular fingerprint that runs that particular organ system that it's targeted for. And so it doesn't need to be it can actually be in your pocket with the adhesive not taken off.
Very good. Well, I'm only going to read 2 more questions just in the essence of time, and, everybody thank you everybody for being here and taking this time. I mean, we could go on for hours and hours, but each week we have a different health
Nobody's
practitioner.
ever said that to me before.
What? All righty, so I'm gonna, 2 more questions. That's gonna be it. I'm so sorry we can't get to everybody tonight. This person, Debbie, has 2 questions. Can you wear an X39, 40 and 49 while getting a microcurrent facial treatment? And can you wear an X39 and 49 while getting red light therapy?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes and yes. Well, that was
Yes, and
quick.
yes.
Let's
And
see.
a lot of therapeutics, by the way, are geared towards putting the body in with a bit of micro damage, right? And so a lot of, my dad used to call it getting poked in the ribs. A lot of the quote therapeutic in a healthy person is the start point of that therapeutic is to create some damage. When the body has the capacity to send repair steroids to those target tissues that are being asked to be repaired, then it tolerates those conditions a lot better. And X39 actually puts the body in a place where it handles. So folks who are taking good care of themselves already and getting a regular chiropractic, getting a regular massage. I had a very deep hot stone massage last week, and I was in a place where if I wasn't athletically competent to repair that tissue, I would have felt it like crazy the next day. And I didn't feel a thing because my body, I've been using these technologies for 3 years. My body has the ability to tolerate injury. So
It's true.
things repair more quickly.
So truly, this is going to be the last one. Peg is asking, how would you treat someone with sugar problems and filtering failure, which requires dialysis 3 times a week?
Invite them to these calls and have them listen into people who have taken matters into their own hands and put their lives back into a place by not doing the toxic stuff that most of us have come to think is the norm. That's the first order of business, right? And that might sound trite, and I don't mean it to sound trite. It means you've got to surround yourself with sacred food, sacred ideologies, and people who are speaking, right? It takes a village. And one of the things that occurred to me earlier today in another mastermind was the power of carrying the message. Like we said earlier, being able to speak your truth and take ground. That's one thing. People around you know how you're living your life better and how you want to keep living your life better, right? How you intend to continue to progress. But my well-being is dependent upon your ability to understand, to be there in the first place, and to understand what's important to me when I say I want to continue to progress, whether that be intellectually or emotionally or spiritually or physically. And to be around healthy community, I think, is one of the most powerful things that we can offer. And to answer the question outright, X39, X39, X39,
X39.
SP6, SP6, SP6.
And be consistent about it all and drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Wearing the patch isn't going to do it if you don't change your habits. And it's hard for people when you're in the ecosystem of your known tribe in which the disease progressed in the first place. Being surrounded by people who still speak your old languages, that's not going to get you out. Putting the patch on is not going to help. You got to change your tribe.
Love that.
That doesn't mean divorce your family. It just means sometimes tag you're the one to change the ecosystem, the narrative.
And so are you open to people having private consultations with you?
Absolutely, sure. Yeah, I can be reached. I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Okay. And so I just truly want to thank everybody that was here that took their time. I want to thank Liz Hodges for moderating and letting people in and keeping things rolling, highlighting people as we went. In the absence of our dear Robin and Gregory, who are usually here, they're off in Italy with David Schmidt. Are you kidding? I want to be a senior presidential director and do that too. And by the way, we do have a convention coming up, the 11th through the 14th of October. And we have a gala event on the very last day. And you know who I want to see on the dance floor, don't you, Dr. Tom? Let's do it. Thank you for your wisdom and the way you present. It's you're so insightful. You're so compassionate. You're just everything that LifeWave has waited for. And there's lots of people out there like us that are coming together. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sunshower.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.